Basically, I just wanted to do a quick video to show the new UV unwrapping changes in Blender 5.0 and why I think that they're such a big deal and why we should all be very excited about them. So to demonstrate this, I have Blender 4.2 open on the bottom here, and I also have the newly released Blender 5.0 official up here. So essentially what has changed is that Blender now has what I'm going to be referring to as true UV selection. Now, what I mean by that is over here in Blender 4.2, if I want to select this UV on my mesh, you'll see I'm also being forced to select that one. The reason for that is because I'm not actually in a true UV selection mode, but rather I'm in what is essentially vertex selection. So it is treating me clicking here like me clicking on this vertex over here. And naturally, because there is a seam across here, it needs to select both, which means that I can't move this UV without moving this UV because they're both tied to the same vertex. To show you what I'm talking about, if I switch over to Maya very quickly, see I have the same cube and UV layout here. And when I hold down right click to switch between modes, there's a difference between vertex and UV. If I was to select vertex, you can see it's the same deal here. I can't select one without selecting the other. Whereas if I go into UV mode, I can select one and move it freely, and do the same thing with the other one. This allowed you to get different UV unwrapping results. Now, as a quick caveat, because I'm sure someone is going to bring it up, yes, there was a way to move one without the other in Blender. It involved disabling the selection sync, highlighting your whole mesh, then coming over and selecting the one UV and moving it around. This was a giant pain to do, especially when you were working on more complex models and you had a lot of individual bits moving around. But now in Blender 5.0, we can keep selection sync on. In fact, I believe it's meant to be on by default. Mine wasn't, but I think it's copied some preferences over. But now, finally, I can have my entire mesh visible and not selected. And I can click on an individual UV and move it around. And it just works. Now, I acknowledge that to some people this might not seem like that big of a deal, especially when you look at all the other new things that Blender 5.0 has added. But as someone who has been using both Blender and Maya for quite a while now, this is a feature that I have wanted Blender to have for so long, and it genuinely is such a great workflow improvement, especially when you're working on models that are, you know, far more complex than basic default cube. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. There's more to the UV changes and everything else that has been added to Blender, but that is sort of the easiest and quickest way I could demonstrate why this feels like such a big deal and why I am so happy about it. Blender development team, thank you so much for this feature. There is so much stuff that has been added to Blender 5.0 and in all the updates that have come before it and all the updates that will come after it, and everyone's going to have their favorite thing. This is mine. This is fantastic. Thank you so much.